All right, so now focusing a little more on expectations for the security area. We know the challenge we face at the moment, so we do have someone else who is also going to profile solutions from, who knows, if any member of those minister designates strikes in as to occupy whichever of those security positions. Well, Makwe, go ahead, take us through that.
Yes, we have with us this morning Mr. Mbirza Gabasa, who is a retired civil servant. He hails from Gabasa local government area in Borno State, and he's also a town planner. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily this morning.
Thank you, ma. Thank you.
You know, I'm sure that a lot of people will say that security has been top of the agenda now for quite a while for a lot of Nigerians, because I think one of the things that Nigerians now worry more about is, you know, their personal security, with the rising cases of banditry, of kidnapping. Initially it was insurgency, which seemed to be, you know, which has now been confined to a certain region. Sadly, you come from that region, so your worries, it would seem, are plenty. But what are your thoughts for the minister who will be coming in? What agenda would you be setting for that person who will be taking over the reins of security in the country? Well, maybe not taking over because the president still has the reins, but he's going to be assigning some of it to that person. Yes. Who will take over interior security. Yes. What exactly are your you know, priorities for the person?
Good morning, viewers. My priorities, in the first place, it is my prayer that the Minister of Interior will be somebody that's very, very committed, somebody who has Nigeria at heart, because we have seen so many things happening. The second prayer is that we want a situation whereby this country, if we are being honest, if we are really being honest, corruption has taken over everywhere. We want a situation whereby corruption should be reduced to the minimum. And then the government of the day is going to be praised. But if the corruption will continue, because there are so many things that have happened, even before this, this time, we have been hearing of so many things happening, governors, ministers, or what have you. We want a sincere person that can take over the internal security of our country. If there's no security, definitely nothing good will happen. Going down to our state, the newly elected governor, I can see he's making all efforts, but he needs support. He needs support, not only from the federal government, he needs support from the people in the state itself.
What kind of support is that?
Well, moral support from the state. It has to be moral support. If possible, financial support as well, because we have so many things happening there. And the biggest thing is security. If there's no security, well, it's not going to be good. So the minister has to make sure that he has that state, not only Borno and Yobe, including Adamawa, those places. He has to make sure he does a lot of work there. There's a lot of homework to be done in that place.
You are from there. When last did you visit there? And what would you say needs to be done right now?
All right. Well, it was very, very tough that time. And then I went in...
What time was that?
That was 2017. Easter, I went for Easter 2017. But I could not go through Maiduguri to Bama to Goza. I had to go to Damboa, Chibok, Uba, and then I went down to Michika and then Madagali before going down to Goza. It was a very long shuttle, but I had to take my time. I had to go through that place. But now, there is relative peace in the town itself, but outside...
That's the town of Goza?
Yes, but outside it's not safe. It's never, never safe at all.
It's outside Goza?
Outside Goza town itself. You know, it's a local government. Outside Goza itself, Goza town itself, the security is not there. I know the governor went there of recent. This new governor went there. I pray that God will continue to bless him, because he has started doing one or two things. He has not been resting. He has been going up and down, visiting places that he wants projects to be done, because like the roads, the federal roads, he has already said he was coming down to see the Minister of Works and Housing, so that he can now talk to them. Even if there was no minister, there was a permanent secretary. So he now started doing so many things at once. Even the day before yesterday, when there was a problem in Monguno, he went to Monguno rather to give, to kickstart this food items donation to the IDPs in the northern side part of the state. So it has not been an easy thing with him. But then, if we are not going to support him morally, if we are not going to support him, if possible, financially, if the minister is not going to be in contact with him every time, then so many things will not actually happen as expected. We expect this government to do a new thing this time around.
What exactly do you want them to do?
Well,
what is the new thing you're looking to see?
The new things are projects, roads, and more security. Because these people are still there in Sambisa, more security, and then around the Lake Chad area, they are still there. And so many of them are still around. Don't be surprised, the people that have been going into this bad habit of becoming Boko Haram, and they will come back the next day and say there are no more Boko Haram. And he don't do anything to them. They will continue to be there, and people will start coming. They will start coming. They will come out in the night. They will come down to the town in the morning. They will just leave. Some people know them, but you cannot approach them. When you approach them, they say, "How do you know? He's an insurgent. How do you know he's a this, he's a that?" So
there is really there's no comprehensive justice system to try and bring to trial the people who were former Boko Haram insurgents or known Boko Haram insurgents, even if the community is able to identify them.
Yes, there's no backing now. There's no backing. Even if the community are able to identify them, nobody takes any serious issue, because nobody takes any serious measures.
What about the civilian JTF?
The civilian JTF are civilian JTF, and that's all. They are there, quite okay. The hunters are also there. The new governor has engaged hunters now to be, he said he was going to buy vehicles for them. They will be patrolling the whole of Maiduguri, from Maiduguri, 40 kilometers away from Maiduguri. That's the phase one of it. He wants a situation whereby these people will be there. I think he is more comfortable with the hunters than the civilian JTF, because he knows there are so many things that civilian JTF have been doing, and that has not been the right one. Some of them are repentant Boko Haram, and when they come back, some of them will just disappear, and that's all. But then there are some committed ones amongst them.
So there are huge questions to be asked in that area of security. Now, in the area of banditry and kidnapping, which the northwest of the country is now beginning to face, what do you think should be done about that?
Well, I can see the new governor is doing one or two things.
Which new governor? Of Borno
The new
State?
Governor of Zamfara.
Of Zamfara State,
yes. He has started doing something about it. I think it's because these Fulani people there, when you call them bandits, are the Fulani people. They even go down to the southwest and all over. Unfortunately, some people too took over, and then they started becoming, they are saying they are Fulani people. They are not Fulani people. Some of them are local people around. They will say they are Fulani people. They will come and start taking, because that name has already made, in fact, has made people to be very, very afraid. If you hear that those are Fulani people, Fulani robbers, Fulani henchmen, people will become, they will not be happy at all. They will be afraid because of what is happening. They have already instilled fear into the people. But the governor is trying, that governor of Zamfara is trying. He has made efforts to an extent that some victims were released recently. But then I understand he had to talk to them. Their representative was there. I think they had a lot of discussions. Then these people were released. No money was paid for them. There was just no ransom at all.
Let's go to Lagos now and take a question or two from my colleagues.
I mean, because looking at those persons the ministers designate, wondering who or those who will be assigned those portfolios concerning security. I don't know how much you know about retired Major General Bashir Salisu Magashi, who was the commandant of the Nigerian Defense Academy between 1998 and 1999. He was also a former governor of Sokoto State from 1990 to 1992. But the question is, in this when it has to do with security, does it, and how much does it matter putting these kind of persons into one of those positions? What kind of effect will he or can he have, given the peculiar nature of our security architecture?
You heard me?
Did you hear his question?
Yes, I heard him talking of Bashir Magashi.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the
Go ahead, go ahead.
And Bashir Magashi, everybody knew him. He was a popular man. He was a military man, quite okay. But then, I didn't hear the rest.
Well, he just wants to know what kind of effect appointing somebody like that will have on security portfolio. Do you think that appointing ex-generals and people who have been former security personnel into those kinds of portfolio have an effect on, you know, what those kinds of the ministries eventually are able to achieve?
Well, I will say yes and I will say no, because it needs a lot of wisdom. Anybody who is there will need a lot of wisdom to make sure that he succeeds. If there's not much wisdom, and then, you know, there is age also is another thing. When people say, he has a lot of experience, he has a lot of experience. But then, do you bring it with the new people that are, you know, very agile, that can sit down and support you and give you ideas to work? It is very important. The soldiers, when they are there, whether they are retired or not retired, bring their people. I mean the military people. Whether they are serving or not serving, they bring them together so that they can do this work together. You know, that's how they have been trained. Even in civilian regime like this, they prefer to bring their people so that they can work together. They go and bring people, and they say, oh, they like to work with so-so person. But there are people there that can also work better than the person you are trying to bring to come and work with you. It needs a lot of sacrifice. Bashir Magashi, well, he has been there, he has been retired somewhere. I don't know where he has been doing, whether he has been farming or not. But then he has been, on one way or the other, he has been doing one or two things, and I think it's a good one to do it. But then civilians are also there. Why don't we appoint civilians that can do that work? There are some civilians that can also do a lot of work that the soldiers can also do.
Mm. Okay. That's questions from Lagos.
Okay. Yeah, if I could just follow up on that. But the thing is, just as you say, look, he may even end up being the Minister of Agriculture if he's been doing farming. So you never know, since those portfolios were not attached to those names. But we've also seen that different regions, we've seen the Southwest, we've seen the Southeast, different regions talking about setting up some form of security architecture to counter what is going on. What do you think we should be doing about addressing, for instance, the question of policing? It is because there is a lack, there's a lacuna. That is why these governors think, look, we have to do something about this. Should we actually address this headlong, and how?
Yeah, policing is a good one, but it is to the advantage of the majority in the state. If we have minorities, policing, well, policing is good to some extent. Because once you start talking of policing, you are going to talk of getting people from their local areas. But then who is the head of that? And how many people can we take, for example, from my local government? How many people can you take, for example, in metropolitan, Maiduguri metropolitan in Borno? And how many people can you take from Biu? So it will all depend on the politicians of that place. It will also depend on the population and the influence. So at times, when you talk of the policing, they will be paid quite okay. When we only get 1% of it, and some people are going to take maybe 20%, 30%, 40%. That development is good. It's not good for we that are really very few, especially the local governments. Like the Kanuri now, they have up to 18 local governments. How many local governments? Southern Borno, we have only 9 local governments.
Mm. So in terms of state policing, there are still fears amongst minority groups that...
Yes, very well, very well.
That this would only favor the majority ethnic groups within the state.
Yes, that is true. That's what is happening.
So how do you think it can be balanced in such a way that nobody is feeling threatened by the emergence of state police?
Well, I in fact prefer the Nigerian police. Empower them and employ many of them. When you recruit more and more people, you don't need to continue to duplicate these things. Nigerian police, right from the beginning, have been doing their work. So if they can do it properly, and they have been doing it very, very well, allow them to do it. Empower, recruit more police, and that is all. Than to say we want, and then one governor will be controlling the in charge of the state police, the state police. We want the Nigerian police, that is all. Once the Nigerian police is empowered, more of them are unemployed. They know the work. They will do it.
Well, what are your thoughts? I'm just wondering, I don't know if this is on this row between the military and the police. We saw what happened recently in Taraba with the accusations against the military. And we also saw the videos, military men who are alleged to have killed policemen in broad daylight, thinking that they, according to the army, thinking that they were aiding a kidnapper. But it turns out that they were policemen on legitimate duty. And now, you know, a kidnapper, an alleged kidnapper, is on the loose. What is your thoughts on that kind of situation? And do you think that ministers have a duty or have any role to play when things like this, situations like this emerge? Yes, very well. I can remember again the former Minister of Internal Affairs was a very weak man. He wasn't doing his job properly. Which one of them? The retired general. Dambazau? Dambazau. He was a very weak minister. That's why I said they should bring somebody who is very, very strong, very agile, who can do that work properly. Why do you think he was weak? Well, because he had so many agencies under him, and he could not control them, and he will just, you know, there are some people that are gifted in doing work, in doing some work, but then he wasn't gifted, he was just there. So he was not doing that thing properly at all. But what happened between the army, the soldiers, and the police in the Taraba state, it was a very sorry disappointment, because as I told you, the police know their work. They went down to Taraba, went and reported and informed the people, the headquarters of Taraba, the police headquarters there. Came down to Ibi, came down to Ukari, did all the necessary things. Arrested that man, is it Alaji somebody? Wadume. And they were just going. And then they passed they passed the first checkpoint, second checkpoint, third checkpoint, and then they were killed. And people were following them. That was false information. In fact, that captain that ordered that they should fire them because they are kidnapping a citizen, that they were kidnappers. He didn't do it properly. I know his handset was checked, and he had so many discussions with that Wadume. So there was no honesty. Corruption has taken over. There was no honesty. Had it been there was honesty at all, this thing wouldn't have happened. It would have stopped. When you have guns as soldiers, I know soldiers, they just say, just kill whoever. They are not police. They are not as, you know, as administratively as police are. They started killing people like that. So if you have guns, and you are not only, it's not only one or two soldiers, there were many. They would have just shoot the tires. Well, it wouldn't have done anything. But this man has disappeared now. Wadume has disappeared. And I'm sure people are, yes, we're still wondering where he is. But we'll take a break at this point, and we'll come back and wrap up our discussions. Please stay with us. Yes, Mr. Mbirza Gabasa is still with us in the studio. He's a retired civil servant. He's from Gabasa local government area of Borno State, and also a town planner. Just wondering, you heard there the governor of Borno State saying that civilian JTF will be empowered and given guns. Is that a good idea? Because you already had your reservations about the things that civilian JTF were already doing in Borno State.
Well, what he has said, he has already said it. That means he has already accepted it. But I believe they have been trained properly, because training how to handle guns is very, very important. Not guns that you will take and then disappear with it, but guns that will sit down and just like the police, they have guns and they use it. It's their weapon. But then if there's no proper training and proper orientation to handle these guns, it can be abused. That's another thing.
So do you think it's a wise idea?
I don't know. We have, if you don't have enough security, there are the people that are backing the soldiers now. If they don't have enough security, maybe when these people see them with guns, there might be a change of heart.
But when you say that amongst them are some
they have to, yes,
insurgents,
yes.
You think that is a good idea to empower those people?
With guns, certainly not. But if there's proper orientation and proper handling of the guns, not all of them, give them specific people that you think, yes, these people are there. But then you go, somebody will come back after 1 year. He came back from Boko Haram. He has been in the society for the past 1 year. And now you come and recruit him. He might not have gone to his place because he will be known there. So he will stay from a distance. Somebody will walk the papers for him, say, yes, he's from here, he's from here. It becomes a problem.
What do you make of this de-radicalization plan that the military has been trying to carry out to try and get former insurgents to be good people and then bring them back to society?
Yes, I can remember some people from my local government. They were radicalized and then they were taken back to Goza. They were in Gombe. So when they were brought to Maiduguri, from Maiduguri now, they were told they were taken back to Goza. They could not reach the town. They said they don't like such people because they have known what they have done. Once they are taken down home, it's going to be another crisis. People will never accept them. So they had to take them back to Maiduguri. So for such people, I don't really know how they can fit into the society. It needs a lot of homework. It needs a lot of homework, a lot of lectures, meetings with the locals, meeting with the locals and telling them that these ones are our brothers. Definitely they were in Boko Haram, but now they are repentant Boko Haram people. It is not going to be only once or twice. In fact, it will even be good if somebody in government, very big in government, can now escort them. Go and stand on one podium and start telling the people there, this person was so, this is this is that, and then please, we are all people of Borno, we have to make sure we want to develop. There are people that have committed such things, but then they have come back now and they have accepted. All the papers have been signed. They have now become a different sort of people entirely. And at the same time, they will be checked. People will be monitoring them wherever they are. So
you think it's a good plan?
Yeah, I think to some extent it's a good plan.
What is a fine place to leave it? We have to thank you for coming on Sunrise Daily this morning. Mr. Mbirza Gabasa is a retired civil servant. He hails from Goza local government area in Borno State, and he's also a town planner. Thank you very much for coming once again.
Thank you.
Well, that's why we leave it for Sunrise Daily this morning. What is your agenda for the incoming ministers? You can talk to us. I'm sure that our handles have been popping up, and you should have copied them by now at Sunrise Daily Now on Twitter and Sunrise Daily at channelstv.com at the handles. Thank you for watching. I'm Maokwe Yusuf.
We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Chamberlain Uso.
I'm Kayode Okikiolu.
I'm Ayamakile. Have a wonderful day.
The views and opinions expressed by guests on this program are those of the maker and do not reflect the views, opinions, and endorsement of Channels Television.